So maybe it's a bit of a stretch to say that nobody knows the musical, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that know this musical, but it's like not as widely known as like most Broadway shows. And the reason for that is because it's not a Broadway show. It should have been a Broadway show, in my opinion. Like, it's good enough to be up there. I love it as much as I love most professional Broadway shows. Not that just because it's a professional Broadway musical, that means that it's better than just any other old production being put on. And you know, it would probably be helpful for me to tell you what the musical is. The musical in question is Twisted, the untold story of a royal vizier, by StarKid. I'm acting as if I'm gonna put graphics up, but I probably won't. Now, you may have heard of StarKid. Specifically, you may have heard of StarKid and their Harry Potter musical series, and obviously this is like a good thing to be known for because the Harry Potter musicals are like more canon than actual Harry Potter material. I take the events of all of those musicals more seriously than I take The Cursed Child. But I would just like to say that if that's the only thing that you know StarKid for and you've never like delved into their other musicals, please do that because they have a bunch of really great shows. From older ones like Starship or Holy Musical Batman to slightly newer ones like Trail to Oregon or Twisted, which isn't really that new, but it's like newer, or Firebringer, which is their newest one. They're all just really good. Like, all these people are so talented. All the people who act in it and sing in the actual shows themselves, to the people who write and direct them, and just all of StarKid, they're just so good. I mean, I first heard of StarKid through the Harry Potter musicals, as like most people do, and while I love those musicals dearly because they just have a very special place in my heart and they're very good, Twisted is my favorite one that StarKid has ever done because it's so amazing. So as you might be able to tell from like the full title and from the poster and everything, this show is a parody of Aladdin, but from Jafar's perspective. It's like heavily inspired by Wicked in that regard, and also there's some of the songs and lines and stuff that are, you know, kind of supposed to be a nod to Wicked. And that's one of the things that I really love about the show, is that it references little things like Wicked, but it also references Disney a lot, obviously. Like, the first time I watched Twisted, I didn't realize how much like Aladdin material there was in it that was like little things that were just specifically from Aladdin, because I hadn't watched Aladdin in years. A few years ago I rewatched Aladdin and was like, oh, okay, so now I get all these jokes that were in Twisted that I didn't get the first time because, you know, it's very, like, a specific reference to that movie. And not only that, there's, like, a lot of other just Disney references in general. Like, the first song is very reminiscent of Belle, like the song from the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. There's a lot of songs in it that sound like Aladdin songs, but, like, they're different. There's a song in it that's kind of a twist on A Whole New World, but that references a lot of, like, the subliminal messaging that people got upset about in Disney movies, like thinking that the picture of the palace is in The Little Mermaid, one of the towers looked a little bit phallic, or that in The Lion King when all those things blow across the screen it says SFX, people thought it said sex or whatever, which are things that like you wouldn't get unless you know a lot about Disney Easter eggs maybe, or maybe that's a more commonly known fact, I don't know. Should probably explain more about what the musical actually is. So yeah, it's Aladdin from Jafar's perspective, and like, what if he wasn't really the bad guy and he was actually just trying to help and it was Aladdin who was the jerk? Which isn't that hard to believe, because Aladdin's not like the nicest Disney character all the time. He's kind of like, that's kind of one of his major character flaws. He's kind of a jerk to people, and he's a little bit selfish, and then he has to learn to like not be that way. But this musical just takes it to the extreme. There's just so much that's good about this. Dylan Saunders, who plays Jafar, is just amazing. His voice is so beautiful, and there's like, it's a funny musical, but like all StarKid musicals, it's funny, but then there's also like really emotional and like heartfelt moments. And like, there's times in this musical where he is like crying real tears, and there's like tears in his eyes, and he's like just getting so emotional with the music, and like, oh, it's so good. Speaking of the music is amazing. Like, the songs are all really catchy and just very well written, and like, it's so cool how they managed to like do songs that sound like Disney songs, like enough that you can recognize that it's supposed to be a parody of a Disney song, but it's different enough that it's like a new song. And they're all lyrically clever, and everyone who sings in this show is great. Everyone is like so perfectly cast. I mean, a lot of the people play like kind of an ensemble, and they play a multitude of different characters, but Jeff Blim specifically, who plays Aladdin, is so great. He gets Aladdin's mannerisms down so much, like, you know the way in the movie Aladdin's kind of like, I don't want to say floppy, because that sounds weird, like his animation's kind of like, this, you know, am I explaining this right? You know what, like just Aladdin's movements, the way they are in the movie, he like nails it totally. Rachel Sugland, who plays Jasmine, is also like really great. This Jasmine is very different than the movie version. She's not like as like cool and like strong and independent and everything as like movie Jasmine. She's more like naive to the world, but like she's a very likable character, at least. And then there's Joe Walker, who is a national treasure, first of all. But he plays, among other characters, Prince Ahmed, who has like a 2-second part in the actual movie, but has a much bigger part in this musical, and he nails the accent for it, like the same accent that they use in the movie. It's really funny. He has a whole song. It's so great. And I know I've talked about the music already, but like, it's seriously just so well written. Like, I could see this show on Broadway. I wish it was on Broadway. And like the costumes and like the set all looks really great. Like you can tell they put so much work and like love into it, which is what I've heard people say about parodies, that like you can't make a good parody unless there's some sort of like love or appreciation of the thing you're trying to parody, which is why the Harry Potter musicals they did are so good, because they all like Harry Potter and like they want to like kind of do a fan tribute to it in a parody form. So it's funny, it kind of makes fun of stuff and like plot holes and everything, but it's not like making fun of the thing and saying that this thing is bad. That's kind of my pitch to you if you haven't seen it. Please just watch it, it's so good. If you have like an extra 2 hours, I think it's like 2 hours long-ish on your hands, just watch it. I'll link to it down in the description so you can get to it, but it's on the Team Starkid YouTube channel if you want to check it out. But I've been listening to the soundtrack like non-stop for the past couple days, so I'm just gonna talk about some of my favorite songs. Twisted is one of my favorite songs. Little cameos from other Disney villains are really good, as well as just the part that Jafar sings after they all leave again. It's just like, oh, and the way Dylan's just so emotional about it, oh, it's so good. I also love Just Steal Everything. I mean, it's so like upbeat and fun. Jeff is hilarious in that song too. No One Remembers Ahmed is also amazing, and it still makes me laugh every time I watch it, which is great. 1001 Nights, obviously, it's just, even the opening song is just really good, just because of like the Disney references, and it's like a really good introduction to characters, well, specifically like Jafar and how the whole town feels about him. I should stop trying to describe stuff on this channel, which is all I ever do, because I can't describe stuff other than saying it's good. I also really love the Golden Rule and the Golden Rule reprise that comes after it. I know I just named like half the songs in the musical, but they're all so good, I can't pick just one. And one I almost forgot about, Happy Ending. That's one that I had like forgotten about until I rewatched the musical again, and I'm like, this song is so good, especially Aladdin's verse in it. I really love his. Honestly, Twisted is probably up in my list of like favorite musicals of all time. It's up there with Heathers and Les Mis and like Hamilton, Fiddler on the Roof, and every other musical that I've ever loved. I mean, I'm a really big fan of Starkid and like I love everything they do, but this was like one of the best things I think they've ever done. So long story short, if you haven't watched this musical, please, 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 please go watch it because it's so good. And if you have already seen it, you should go watch it again, because why not? I just love talking about Starkid because I feel like it's a thing that like a lot of people know about, but like not a ton of people are like super big fans of them and like actually follow kind of what they do. So I don't know, maybe I'll do more videos on like Starkid stuff that I like. If you, like me, are a fellow fan of Starkid, tell me what your favorite musical is of theirs, or favorite musicals, because it's hard to pick one. Thank you guys for watching my little PSA here. I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!